Hello everyone, back to today's second video. So we've already done Snow Watch and the environment video on the Snow Watch page. Going to be some snow around today, and it's going to be mainly in the east. There will be some accumulations of snow over high ground, but even to lower levels there will be some snow showers coming through at times through the course of this afternoon and into this evening. I'll let you have a look at Snow Watch and see what you think to that, but many of us will get our first flakes of the winter, and we're not even in winter yet, in the next few hours. This video is going to be focusing on the weather for the next week to 10 days, which takes us to around the 10th of December, so we're going through the first week to 10 days of December with this update. Been a lot of confusion and chopping and changing about the weather through the course of next week. I think we have firmed up a little bit on the way forward, and it's probably going to be quite mild through the early and middle part of the week before maybe colder towards the end of next week, and I'll show you all the detail on that in a second. Just to say that this evening we've got the 14th Christmas update. That's going to be with you around 7 o'clock this evening on the Christmas updates page. Also going to tell you about the Christmas shop is open, so if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click the green button that says Gaz Christmas Shopping. It takes you through to our Christmas shop page. Then from there, go through the Amazon banners, do Christmas shopping at Amazon as normal. Because you've gone from Gaz Service to Amazon, where you get a review fee on the things that you are buying. We're going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University website for the next 7 to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which you'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure and low pressure have been moved around by a jet stream running above. Red extrapolates high pressure, and blue extrapolates to low pressure. Now, it looks like winter will be setting in across America in the next 7 to 10 days. We've got this very deep trough plunging south into many central and eastern parts of the states. The jet stream will be going southwards with that as well. So it's been pretty mild in America over the past few weeks, but it's going to be getting a lot colder there, if that's right, in the coming 7 to 10 day time frame. Now, for us in the UK and Europe, we are governed by this large area of high pressure in the Atlantic. This is what's been causing all of the confusion, because we've got all of this blocking up here, so we have still got our northern blocking across the Arctic, and we've got the ridge just here, but in between we're actually bringing in a bit of an influence from the jet stream. It's just how much influence that jet stream has next week that's been causing all of the confusion. In theory, this area of high pressure in the Atlantic wants to go north to Greenland and join up with this area of high pressure up here and then form one large sort of blocking feature. But with the energy coming out of America, probably some of that associated with this cold plunge, energy coming out of America, so we do have a bit of an influence from the jet stream, and that's what's been causing the confusion, just how much influence we have. In any case, we are more or less still on the cold side of the jet, especially later next week with this trough here across the northern and central parts of Europe. So at the very least, we are likely to be turning the winds back into the north again at some point through the latter stages of next week. The GFS is very similar. That's the ECM. This is the GFS, of course. So again, we've got this ridge through the central Atlantic. It's trying to push northwards to Greenland. In fact, a bit of a ridge is continuing to push northwards to Greenland. And we also have this extensive area of blocking over the North Pole. Then we've got the deep trough plunging down into eastern parts of the states with jet stream as well, and then for us we do something like that with the flow with the jet. So again, we are still more or less there on the cold side of the jet, and we just have a little bit of an influence still from the Atlantic, indicated by these black lines just here. So it's a very, very complicated, very subtle pattern, but I think what happens is that the early and middle stages next week probably will be quite mild, and then we'll probably get another drop from the north, another plunge from the north. GFS ensembles data today, so we're looking at Runcorn, which is in the northwest of England, I believe. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average, and you can see at the moment we are colder than average, substantially so, really, almost down to -10 at 850 HPA at Runcorn in the next 24 hours, we're going to see those temperatures staying cold, and then the end of the week into weekend, we'll see the temperatures slowly but surely starting to lift up. So early next week, we are going milder then. But we still have a lot of scatter next week. You'll see that from the warmest to the coldest ensemble members from as early as the 7th of December, which is just a week away. We've still got something like a 20-degree temperature differential between the warmest and the coldest ensemble members. And I think overall, you'll notice with the white line here, which is the ensemble mean, that's taking all the individual lines of spaghetti and making just one line, which is a mean line out of all of those. You'll notice that is dipping down a bit through the second half of next week. So I think overall the GFS ensembles are still more or less trending colder into the end of next week. I just delayed it a little bit. Instead of trending colder there, or even there, they're trending colder around there. But there's not much in it, and I think we probably do get winds back into the north at the end of next week. In terms of precipitation, a lot of dry weather to come with this cold weather in the next few days. So rest of the week into weekend, even the start of next week, still under high pressure. Then precipitation spikes are coming back. That's quite a long way off with so much uncertainty with the ensemble members, or temperature part of the ensemble members. There's got to be uncertainty in terms of the pattern, and so I wouldn't necessarily be taking it too seriously that it will start to turn wetter into the second week of December. And then we're going to have a look at the surface temperatures and air pressure again for Runcorn. So what we look at first of all is the surface temperature. We're starting off cold here, barely above freezing today, and there's going to be a frost overnight. In fact, it stays cold into the weekend. Through the weekend, we begin to see the temperatures lifting up. So by Sunday, we're going above 5 degrees Celsius. That continues into next week, where very slowly the temperatures trying to get themselves back up. But then in the second half of next week, actually, I think we've got a bit of a trend downwards again. So a little bit milder start to middle part of next week, then colder. And you'll notice, again, probably the risk of night frost returning. So these are the minimum temperatures down here, starting off with frosty nights, then losing the frosty nights over weekend into the start of next week. But then in the second half of next week, those frosty nights coming back. In fact, some of the ensemble members go down to, or even below, -5 as we get through into the second week of December. So signs that frost returns later next week. For the air pressure, it's looking like this, starting off relatively high, really, with pressure around 1,015 millibars. We're going high with pressure over the weekend into next week, up to and beyond 1,030 millibars, and then the air pressure is dropping as we go through into the second week of December. However, again, lots of scattering with that, so some members keeping air pressure at around 1,030 millibars, very high. Some are going down to around 970 millibars. So once again, as with the temperatures, there's a lot of uncertainty with the air pressure as well through the end of next week and then into the second week of December. Still a lot of confusion, really, about the way forward, I think. We've got it more or less nailed down now to around Wednesday, but beyond that, I still think there's a lot of confusion going on here. Temperature anomalies for the next week are still more or less colder than average for England and Wales. It's from the 30th of November to the 8th of December. Bit colder than average for England and Wales, a little bit milder than average, actually, for Scotland and Northern Ireland. These may well start to trend a bit milder than average in the next few days. The precipitation anomaly looks like this, more or less drier than average from the 30th of November to the 8th of December, though going a bit wetter than average across the far north of Scotland. This is how the GFS is looking for Monday, when we're close to this relatively mild ridge. We've got the high pressure just to our southwest. The air coming around the top of that high pressure is being pulled up from the central Atlantic and then dumped around the top. So that's the reason it's getting less cold over the weekend. By Monday, actually milder. Bear in mind, winds are very light, and this is particularly for England and Wales, and this is damp air, so we may well find problems with fog developing as we go through to the start of next week. If we do, obviously that will limit the temperatures by day as well. Into Tuesday, I should say, next week, high pressure is to our south, low pressure is to our north, still mild air being pulled up around the top of that high pressure. turning a bit windier and probably a bit more unsettled as well for Scotland. Into the middle part of next week, and southwesterly winds are coming through the country, but notice pressure is rising up across Greenland. That's going to try and get the winds into the north. Will it be able to do it? Let's go and have a look at Thursday. We've got an area of low pressure coming across the country. That's bringing cloud and outbreaks of rain. On the northern side of this low pressure, that's the cold air pushing down, or trying to push down from the north, mild air trying to push up from the south. So we've got a bit of a battle, and there is an active weather front with this area of low pressure. It's probably bringing a lot of heavy rain, possibly snow on the northern side of that low pressure. That's how things are looking at the end of Thursday, with that low pressure starting to move away into the North Sea, so that by Friday next week, yes, the winds have gone back into the north again. We're back to our sort of blocking feature through the northern Atlantic, trying to extend up towards Greenland. Low pressure is around here, and the winds are down from a northerly direction. That could probably bring snow even to southern parts of the country again at the end of next week. And then we keep those northerly winds going through the weekend of the 9th, 10th of December. Stays cold up to day 10 anyway, which is sunny the 10th of December. It looks cold with winds in from the north, probably bringing more snow showers to northern and eastern parts of the country, and it's probably some quite hard overnight frost as well. Again, this is not the kind of pattern we had in December 2010. It's not a December to remember. It's not a severe freeze-up, but it looks like we're going to have regular northerly shots, and as each one of these northerly shots comes through, they're going to get colder because it's cooling down all the time in the Arctic. So if this carries on into deeper into the winter, obviously these northerly winds or northerly shots of air will become increasingly cold. This is how the ECMWF looks finally. Again, the mild air coming around the top of the ridge through the start of next week. That keeps us going to the middle of next week on a relatively mild note. We may have problems with fog under this ridge across England and Wales. Not sure about that. Shouldn't have any problems with fog for Scotland and for Northern Ireland. Into the second half of next week, this low pressure moves through across the country. And again, similar to the GFS, by Friday we're getting wind back into the north as the low pressure clears away to the east. So both GFS and the ECMWF have us back in northerly winds by the end of next week. Another northerly shot coming down, although this does look a little bit transient. By day 10 we're already starting to revert winds back into the west again. So just a very short-lived and brief northerly snap at the end of next week with the ECMWF, whereas the GFS does look a little bit more prolonged with those northerly winds. So that's what we've got to deal with today, and I'm not sure that from Wednesday onwards this is really nailed down entirely, so expect further changes to this over the coming few days. We're going to stay cold to the weekend, then we're going to gradually lift up the temperatures over the weekend, so that by Monday we should be back into relatively mild conditions, although we might have problems with fog due to the dampness of the air, particularly for England and Wales, close to that area of high pressure. That could continue into Tuesday as well. The middle part of next week, I think, is looking generally mild and probably quite wet, especially so for the north and west. And then the idea, but I'm not all that convinced that they're right about this, but the idea is that the second half of next week we'll get the wind back into the north, bring another northerly shot down across the country and turn it cold once again. That may just be a little cold snap, as the ECMWF is showing. It may be something rather more prolonged and significant, as the GFS is suggesting. Again, I think a lot of uncertainty from as early as around Wednesday or Thursday. Right, don't forget to check out Snow Watch, because there is going to be snow around parts of the country today, so have a look at that and see where that's going to be. And then this evening, we're up to the 14th Christmas update. We're over halfway, and we'll see what the Christmas update has to say tonight at 7 o'clock. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.